Miami goes to Syracuse, loses this game 41-38, and our friend Omar called in with a voicemail. Miami, it's a sad state of affairs right now.
Hey, my name is Omar from Medford, New Jersey. I am a diehard Miami fan. I graduated 2018, season ticket holder, and I just wanted to say this team is a disgrace, first of all. We absolutely do not deserve to be in the playoff, regardless of who wins, loses this coming week. We find the most excruciating ways to, one, lose games, two, destroy an absolute season where we have a chance to actually go far. Honestly, a generational quarterback that we're probably not going to find for another 20 years or so. The defense is just horrific. Moral of the story, 10-2, like it looks good on paper, and you had everything, all the pieces you needed. I mean, look at SMU. They put together a beautiful season. I hope to God that they crush Dabo and Clemson. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, like this.
It's not good.
Chris Valica from Fox Sports had a good stat. Mario Cristobal has now 5 losses as a double-digit favorite since 2022. Did you see how this game ended, by the way? Because we were moving around conversation during the day.
Yeah, I didn't get to see a ton of this game.
It was 21-0. We thought Miami was going to cruise to win. Syracuse comes back. They're up 7. Miami kicks a field goal. They get 4th and goal with 3 or 4 minutes left. And they let the clock run and run and run. Then they kick a field goal to cut it to 4, and they never got the ball back. Syracuse just ran the clock out. Same thing that happened in Minnesota Penn State the week prior, essentially. So it's another game management situation with Mario Cristobal where it doesn't work. And if you're Miami, Cam Ward's gone. Restrepo's gone. Like, this was supposed to be the team that made that jump to the ACC championship here. Miami still hasn't done that. And they lose it to a Syracuse team that has a really good pass offense. But it's in the first year of a head coach. Like, Miami was... The path to the ACC championship was right there. The path to the playoff. The committee loves you. You're number 6. Now you're probably out of the field. This is a really, really bad loss. And it's another one where, even though Miami's 10-2, it's another one where you come out saying, like, is Mario Cristobal the guy to get them over the hump? Because time and time again, when he's in that situation, he just doesn't get it done. And Miami blew it.
Yeah. You mentioned there's no other way to color it other than Miami blowing it, not just necessarily yesterday, but just this entire season. You look at the losses. Georgia Tech. What? Syracuse? You look around and you say, okay, you load it up in the portal, you add Cam Ward, you add Damian Martinez, Xavier Restrepo's a good player, but Florida State is, floating around at 2-10 they finished. Clemson's not very good. And what do? You're going to let SMU win the league, baby? Like, if you'd have told me before the season that Miami was going to miss the playoff and SMU was going to win the ACC, that's like worst case scenario. And if you add into that, and Florida State's going to go 2-10 or whatever. Like, it's inexcusable. And I think that it'd be one thing if you don't get it done and you're Miami, but like, hey, Clemson, this is a top 5 team. It's tough. Florida State, they went 10-2, 11-1 again. Like, we just didn't quite win the games that we needed to win. We didn't quite get there. No. Everything was Miami's the best team in the ACC, and they couldn't prove it on the field because they had 2 terrible losses. It's just that simple.
Oh, yeah. Also, this was, I think, coming off a bye week, and you give up 42 points.
That helps. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not a bye week. Two weeks ago they had a bye, but
yeah.
They had Wake Forest last week. But shout out to Syracuse, by the way. Fran Brown, 9-3 in your first season.
What a year one.
The number one passing offense in the country. Shout out to Jeff Nixon, the OC, who might get some head coaching looks. Like, unbelievable first year for him. He's a guy. I always hate when people say this, but he's a guy you could see getting like a SEC job, like in the not too distant future. He's a guy gets it. He knows how this works. He knows I got to go accumulate talent. I'm going to go get Kyle McCord and do what needs to be done. And things are looking really good there at Syracuse. Shout out to him. So because Miami loses, Clemson is going to the ACC championship. SMU Clemson. Clemson lost to South Carolina. on Saturday in a game that they allow Lenore Sellers to score a rushing touchdown with a couple of minutes left, and then Clemson throws an interception trying to tie the game late. ACC now, probably a one-bid league if SMU wins, probably two if Clemson wins. Clemson's a bid thief, which is kind of like vernacular we have to get used to in college football now, which is kind of not what we expected. What do you make of Clemson and the whole ACC situation?
Am I crazy to think if Clemson gets in, that's a team you probably don't want to play? Just talent-wise?
Yes. Depends who you are.
Okay. Yeah, it does depend on who you are. But, like, the talent
they
is
beat
still
nobody.
there.
They beat nobody this year.
Yes,
they
I
lost
agree
to
with
Louisville.
That. That's true.
You know,
but you're still looking at... Listen, at the end of the day, like, there's still somewhat of a boogeyman element to Clemson. You're still looking across the field, and you're seeing one of two guys that has a national championship ring. Like, I think there's still some of that. That they're like, hey, you should win this game, but, like, are you going to psych yourself out a little bit, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, and you're looking at that staff? I can see that.
The thing is, if Clemson wins, though, if Clemson wins, they're almost certainly going to be not a top 4 seed. Probably. Well, I guess it depends on what the Big 12 champion is.
Yeah.
I guess that depends. But they're coming off a loss.
Could Boise get in there? Yeah.
Yeah, Boise's probably already locked in. We'll talk about the playoff later in the show. But if you're Clemson and you're going on the road in the first round, even if you win the ACC, I'm probably not picking Clemson in that game. But
that's what they want, Chris. That's what they want you to do.
So, we were coming to a situation a week ago. We thought the ACC might get 3 bids all of a sudden. Now it's 1, maybe 2 if you lose something there. So, weird year. The one thing I don't want to happen, if SMU loses the ACC championship game, they should still be in the playoff.
100%.
It will be an absolute
100%.
It will be an absolute travesty if they get jumped by somebody like Alabama, somebody who doesn't play, who has more losses, 2 more losses at the moment. And if you penalize SMU for losing in a conference championship game that an Alabama or a South Carolina didn't have to play, would be ridiculous. Or a Miami who didn't make their conference championship game. So
one thing that works in the ACC's favor, by the way, and this will come into play for Miami, will come into play for SMU as well, is Louisville beat the crap out of Kentucky on Saturday, 41-14. They might sneak back into the top 25.
Louisville. Damien's not here, but I'm going to correct you on this. Louisville.
He'll appreciate that. They might sneak back into the top 25. Top 25 wins a very important metric. And that would be a nice little boost to your resume. It might be enough. Louisville beating Kentucky might be the difference between the ACC getting 1 or 2 bids.